Tonight on CTV News at 6, trying to cut city costs and spending more instead. An even higher tax hike possible as Edmonton's budget discussions drag on. An Alberta teen arrested accused of using AI to make illegal images.
This is not a joke. It's not a prank. This is the most extreme form of bullying and a criminal offense.
And
Stop the remaining arm.
Groundbreaking surgery in Edmonton.
To see how well he is now and how good he's doing, and to actually get to see him enjoy being a kid.
Looks like it'll be a sloppy day tomorrow as temperatures should be just slightly above zero and we get some rain and snow.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. City councillors are getting closer to setting the tax increase for next year. The mayor has vowed to hold the increase at or below 6.4%. But City Council has just approved new spending that brings it closer to 7%. Jeremy Thompson has been covering this discussion all week and joins us now from City Hall with the latest. Jeremy.
Well, Jeff, the starting point for these budget talks, that 6.4% you mentioned, would see the average Edmonton homeowner pay about an extra $230 in property taxes next year. However, this afternoon, Council agreed to borrow $11 million to help fund the city's tourism body, Explore Edmonton, when it could have avoided adding to the 2026 tax increase by dipping into savings instead.
I think everyone agreed that starting next year, we need to provide that stable long-term funding for Explore. So it would be coming on the tax roll, presumably next year anyway.
Councillors have debated a variety of cuts to trim the tax increase, $14 million worth on the capital side. That includes putting off demolishing the Argyle Velodrome and deferring new bike racks for buses. Council approved none of those cuts. On the operating side, there was nearly $8 million in proposed cuts, including holding back $2 million earmarked for vandalism response. Council trimmed just $440,000. When it comes to new spending, Council approved $25 million on one capital item. That's 25 new buses, which won't be on the books until 2027. Councillors are still debating $38 million in new operating dollars, along with the money for Explore Edmonton. They approved a $3 million top-up for disabled transit.
This is just keeping up with the growth. Now that the ridership is at an all-time high for DATS, it's 6% higher than it's ever been before. Not approving that funding would have resulted in a service level decrease for people using DATS, and that was unacceptable.
Some of the other proposed spending still on the table includes $6 million for more peace officers, $500,000 for the infill liaison team, and $3 million for enhanced bus and transit cleaning. Now, budget talks are not over, but unless council can find some additional savings in the next day here, Edmontonians are looking at just under a 7% tax increase for 2026. Council is expected to set the final number tomorrow. Jeff?
Jeremy, thank you. Jeremy Thompson live at City Hall. An infant remains in critical condition as a crowdfunding effort is underway for a family displaced by a fire that killed a 2-year-old boy in Clairview last week. An 8-year-old girl has since been released. A woman who lived in the home is still in hospital with serious injuries, while a man was treated for his injuries and released. 2 others, a second man and a 10-year-old girl, were treated at the scene. The GoFundMe page set up by the children's aunt has raised more than $4,000 over the last 3 days. Investigators are still looking for the cause of the fire. Edmonton police say no charges will be laid in a recent homicide. Last month, during a welfare check at a home in northwest Edmonton, police found the body of a man. The medical examiner determined it was a homicide. Police say the suspect has since died and no charges will be laid. They're not looking for any other suspects. A Calgary teenager is facing multiple serious charges after using artificial intelligence to create sexually explicit images. Police allege the high school student used AI to sexualize photos of girls between the ages of 14 and 18 from several different high schools around the city. CTV's Tim Brooke reports.
After receiving a disturbing tip in October, police searched the home of a 17-year-old Calgarian last month. They seized 2 phones, a tablet, and a laptop.
We are alleging this high school student was using artificial intelligence to create child sexual abuse and exploitation material of fellow students throughout Calgary high schools.
Officers say the student ran existing real photos through AI programs to create sexualized images they then shared online. Police aren't naming any of the schools involved to protect the identity of the victims and the accused, who are all underage.
Our biggest takeaway from today is that we need people to understand that this is not a joke, it's not a prank. This is the most extreme form of bullying and a criminal offense.
It's also an example of a new, potentially dangerous age of online manipulation and misinformation. Many of the young people we spoke to say they're all too familiar with the practice of swapping faces and bodies online, though this situation is especially disturbing.
I think it's terrible. I don't think that people should have the right to use other people's body, their image, without their consent.
I think it's weird making something of what it's not.
It's kind of silly. I think it impedes people's privacy, and I feel like you should get permission before using people's photos and data.
With the open access to fairly advanced AI tools that allow to distort reality and allow to essentially implement or create any fantasies.
The accused is facing charges for making, possessing, and distributing child sexual abuse and exploitation materials, along with criminal harassment. They're next due in court January 8th. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The provincial government is spending millions of dollars from the 2025 budget addressing classroom complexities and mental health issues. The Alberta Teachers Association says it's a re-announcement of already allocated funds and doesn't go far enough to address issues in schools. Connor Hawk has more.
We're giving schools practical tools to help ease the pressure that teachers face and, of course, help students thrive.
In an announcement that he says will target aggression, differing learning needs, and complexity in classrooms, Education Minister Demetrius Nicolaides says the Mental Health and Wellbeing Grant will provide $69 million over 3 years to provide customizable funding to improve mental health in schools, such as staff training, external support navigators, wellness coaches, as well as specialized mental health classrooms, beyond the government's goal of adding 60 by 2027. Up to 20% can be used on individualized supports.
It is an investment in the holistic development of our students and in their future.
The opposition NDP and the Alberta Teachers Association say the plan doesn't go far enough.
And these band-aid after-the-fact solutions, not recognizing the systemic nature of the problem.
Really what you had today was a re-announcement of money that was already allocated in Budget 2025.
Nicolaides agrees that while the money is from the spring budget announced back in February, he says the grant is the first time dedicated mental health funding is solidly in place.
Heading right out of budget in the spring and into the summer, we're into really detailed collective bargaining negotiations and subsequently a strike. So it was challenging to find the right opportunity to be able to communicate the information. I think this is an exciting moment, though.
ATA President Jason Schilling says the money should have been made available at the beginning of the school year. He says while support needs to increase, $23 million per year isn't enough to target the need teachers are seeing, and that the government hasn't asked for teacher input, relying on school boards instead.
We'll see what boards do with this money, if they can resurrect any pilots that they had started that maybe they had to get rid of because of funding, or maybe we could actually start hiring some more counselors for our schools as well.
School boards will be required to report annually to the province how they're spending the money. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
A recall campaign has been launched for Premier Danielle Smith. According to documents sent to CTV News by petition organizers, a recall drive in Smith's Brooks Medicine hat riding has been approved by Elections Alberta. Petition organizers say the effort stems from concerns about Smith's lack of connection to the community and her use of the notwithstanding clause.
I feel like my voice and the voices of my neighbors aren't being heard. I feel like our MOA she's rarely seen in the community. She's not seen in the community. We feel like she doesn't have a connection. She's not from here. She doesn't have a history with us.
Elections Alberta has not yet posted the petition or any statement from Smith in response to it on its website. The Premier's office has not responded to a CTV News request for comment, but the UCP caucus says the recall process should not be used to overturn elections just because of disagreements with government policy. To trigger a recall vote for Smith, 12,070 signatures are required. 14 other UCP MLAs face active recall efforts. The Alberta Health Services CEO is currently on leave from his position. AHS says Andre Tremblay is on leave but won't reveal why. Tremblay was appointed CEO following the firing of Athena Mentzelopoulos in January. Tremblay also acted as official administrator when the AHS board was fired. The province says in the interim, those roles will now be handled by Aaron O'Neill. House Speaker Rick McIver says advancing accessibility for Albertans with disabilities is an ongoing priority for the province.
Our province is home to thousands of people with disabilities whose contributions strengthen our communities, our workplaces, and our lives. Their leadership, resilience, and creativity continue to shape Alberta in meaningful and lasting ways.
It's International Day of Persons with Disabilities. McIver says the day is meant to honor the achievements of people with disabilities while recognizing the barriers that still stand in their way. He says it's important to keep working towards a society where inclusion is the norm rather than the exception. Government ministers, the Lieutenant Governor, and several guests spoke at the ceremony at the legislature. Despite losing, the Oilers want to build off last night's game. The Oilers' next 4 games are at Rogers Place, and the team wants to string some wins together. They've only allowed 1 goal over their last 2 games. Stuart Skinner picked up a shutout Saturday and was in net last night when the team lost 1-0 to the Minnesota Wild. The head coach says the team can thank their goaltender.
Last 2 games he's played incredibly well, and anytime the goaltender's playing well, he covers up mistakes, and because certainly there were mistakes and we gave up some chances, but when the save is made, it's easily to you can forget about the mistake and it's not amplified so much.
Honestly, last 2 games have been great. I think those are some really good games that we can go off of and just continue, and if we do, I think we're putting ourselves in a really good spot.
The Oilers' next game is tomorrow night against the Seattle Kraken. Also announced today, tickets for the Oilers' skills competition on February 1st go on sale Friday morning at 10. As we head into the winter driving season, the mayor says to expect business as usual when it comes to clearing slippery roads. That means a specialized mix of chemicals and sand will be used depending on temperatures. It also means drivers should be aware of the damage that can be done to vehicles. CTV's Gates Guarin reports.
Right, this one's in not bad shape. I've seen worse.
Business is steady so far this winter at Buddy's Garage. Owner Don Meester going through his routine checks.
And the pinch welds are okay.
But he anticipates some issues as the city puts down its traction mix out on Edmonton roads.
It sits in here, and then it rusts, and then, then it looks terrible. And you don't notice it till after it's too late.
The city uses a mix of sand, salt, rock chips, and a small amount of calcium chloride brine to make roads safer in the winter. A pilot project several years ago used calcium chloride in much larger quantities to test its effects.
It was not popular amongst Edmontonians, and even though it made a measurable difference in safety, folks were not keen to continue that.
The city decided to phase out the chemical from rotation 5 years ago. Mayor Andrew Knack says calcium chloride is still used on some active pathways in the city. It's not an issue he wants council to reopen for the roads.
I've heard no appetite to revisit that discussion.
The province uses calcium chloride on roads it is responsible for, like the Anthony Henday. Meester says even a small amount of chemicals on the road can cause rust damage that can be hard to fix.
We have to lift a different way because the body is starting to deteriorate, and that's the lift point. So it makes it a little challenging to lift it.
Meester says to check on your vehicles during the winter season, and if you get the chance to,
wash the vehicle, get that stuff off. Go to a car wash, use a pressure washer.
As doing so can save your vehicle and your wallet in the long run. Gates Guarin, CTV News, Edmonton.
warm, rain, and snow. I should definitely check my windshield washer fluid.
Yeah, you're going to need it again tomorrow. I mean, not so much Friday, Saturday. Some colder air drops back in and everything freezes over again, but it's going to be sloppy out there for the rest of this evening and right through the day tomorrow. Temperature's really not going to change all that much. We're at 1 in downtown Edmonton right now. We may slip to -1 or -2 early tomorrow morning, but back up to about 2 or 3 degrees above zero tomorrow afternoon. So we're just kind of hovering within a degree or two of the freezing mark here for the next 24 hours or so. 2 degrees off to the northwest, Villeneuve. It is gusty, though. Outside the city, you have gusts to about 30 kilometers per hour. I think we'll get to 2 for a high. We're at 1.4 so far, and I don't think we've topped out yet. So that'll be about 6 degrees warmer than average, despite the fact that we started the day at -11. So big warm up today, stays warm again tomorrow, and like today, some more precipitation in the forecast for tomorrow. We've had periods of rain, some really big, fluffy snowflakes in parts of the city earlier this afternoon. We're still seeing some snow as the second wave has come in here, western and northern parts of the city. You notice the green off to the southwest? You get some rain or a little rain-snow mix, and we've had some of that in the Red Deer region as well. In fact, for the past several hours, we've had precipitation along the QE2 corridor, and that is probably making for some rather slick driving conditions in through that area. More of that for the next 24 hours or so. And so if you have travel plans to put you on highways around the Edmonton area overnight tonight or tomorrow, check road conditions before you head out. Rain snow mix for tomorrow, high of about 2 or 3 degrees, and again, a little breezy in the afternoon. We'll talk more about that and the big cool down for Friday and the weekend in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Josh. And here's a live look at the Alberta Legislature grounds. Right now, things a little dark, but soon the place will be shining bright for the annual Light Up the Legislature event. Events are happening over the next few weeks for the holiday season. A list can be found on the province's website. Still to come, a warning from a former AHS exec over the province's new hybrid model for surgeons.
If I were living in Alberta, I'd say this is, a really scary sort of policy initiative.
We take a closer look at proposed changes and a comparison to other countries that mix private and public care. Plus,
programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
On Thursday, the future could bring big demand on Alberta's energy grid. Could solar, wind, and nuclear play a role? Plus, cold weather may make us more sick, but not how you think. How to stay healthy in flu season.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Help us build a mountain of toys. Donate today at ctvedmonton.ca.
Big changes are coming to healthcare in Alberta with legislation that allows some doctors to work in both private and public care. Legislators have pointed out a hybrid system appears to provide better outcomes, such as shorter wait times in other countries, such as Australia. In the first part of our series on the challenges facing healthcare, an Australian who has been a health leader many years weighs in on Alberta's venture.
We couldn't afford to keep all those beds open.
He spent only a few years in Alberta, but former AHS president and CEO Stephen Duckett left an impression. An internationally respected healthcare economist, Duckett was recruited from Australia in 2009 and tasked with cutting $1 billion from the budget and overseeing the amalgamation of Alberta's 9 health regions.
Isn't it ridiculous that the media are not prepared to go to the media scrum? And I'm eating my cookie.
There was fallout from his reforms, and about 2 years later, he was fired, in part due to his handling of it. Now a health professor in Melbourne, Alberta is no longer in his purview. However,
if I were living in Alberta, I'd say this is, a really scary sort of policy initiative.
Duckett is referring to the UCP government's new plan to increase privatization by allowing surgeons to complete both public and privately funded elective surgeries. In a social media video, the Premier explains why she believes this will improve wait times for all.
They will be able to have their surgery performed in the off hours and come off the public wait list at no extra cost to taxpayers. That means everyone on the public wait list moves up in the queue so that they also get their publicly insured surgery done quicker than they otherwise would.
Danielle Smith named Australia as one of the countries where a hybrid model works. Duckett says what the Premier describes isn't what happens.
The evidence from Australia is that if you start to introduce private care, you end up with longer waiting lists in the public sector and so on. So I think it's something you have to tread very warily.
In Australia, Medicare covers essential health care for all citizens and permanent residents. There is also a significant private sector. According to the Australian government, more than half of Australians access private doctors and hospitals, mainly paid for by private insurance.
In a sense, the hospital system ends up as a two-speed system. That is, if you've got hip pain or knee pain and you need to have a hip replacement or a knee replacement, the waiting time for that is much shorter if you go privately than if you go on the public hospital system.
Duckett says having two different systems also increases admin costs. He credits other parts of the Australian system for shorter wait times and lower healthcare costs.
I think there are multiple differences between the two countries, and just assuming that I've chosen this difference and that therefore must explain everything, I think it's a bit naive.
One of those differences is the number of doctors. Data from an international info hub shows in 2023, Canada had 2.72 practicing physicians per 1,000 people. Australia had 4.2. European countries led the pack, with Austria taking top spot at 5.51 doctors per 1,000 people.
So if some are treating private patients, there's not as much opportunity for the public system to suffer as perhaps there is here.
One emergency physician says a shortage of certain healthcare workers is already limiting important surgeries in Alberta.
We have empty operating rooms because we do not have enough anesthesiologists and nurses already to staff those. And I'm not talking empty at nighttime. I'm talking always empty.
Alberta's health ministers say one of the reasons they're trying this new model is to attract staff.
I think this is a tool that will help us retain physicians and other healthcare professionals that are frankly going to other jurisdictions, and it will retain that activity in the Alberta economy.
Legislators vow safeguards will be put in place to ensure the public system doesn't suffer. They say they're not putting those specifics into legislation so they can change things quickly if issues arise.
Or that we have to make some changes because all of a sudden we do need to shift. We need to be nimble.
People on both sides of this issue agree getting more doctors is crucial to improving our system. In my next segment, I'll look at what Alberta is doing to increase the health workforce.
Still ahead, an Alberta teen undergoes a historic surgery.
It's like a switch. It was like, it went from me being tired all the time to me wanting to eat, drink.
A second chance of life for one Edmonton teenager after undergoing surgery assisted by a robot.
Some snow out there in parts of the Edmonton area right now. We'll see a bit of a break overnight tonight, and then more rain and more snow in the forecast for tomorrow. Closer look at that right after the break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
So we have 2 kinds of seasons, right? If I asked you right now, what season is it outside, you'd probably say it's what? It's winter. That's right. And meteorologically, you would be right, because we have meteorological seasons and we have astronomical seasons. Which one do you think is based on the sun? Astronomical or meteorological? Yeah, what do you think? Astronomical, that's right. That would make more sense. And so astronomical seasons start, well, winter would start December 21st. They start when the sun hits different parts of the earth. When it's at its furthest point south, we get the winter solstice. But does it really make sense for winter to start December 21st? Or does it make more sense for it to start December 1st? December 1st. I and every other meteorologist agree with you. And so winter solstice won't happen for a few more weeks. But as of December 1st, Monday of this week, what season officially started? Winter, that's right. These are the grade 5s from smart kids out here, forecasters of the future, and you are.
Weather Watchers brought to you by the Alberta Teachers Association. Strong schools equal a strong Alberta.
An Alberta teen has become one of the first pediatric patients for a groundbreaking transplant surgery. As Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports, it changes how patients recover.
16-year-old Raiden Delaney has a lot to look forward to now that he has a new kidney.
I get to eat like all the food I want. I get to drink all the fluids I want.
All things possible after having a robot-assisted kidney transplant last month.
Stop the remaining arms.
He's one of 2 Canadian teens to undergo this procedure, becoming the first pediatric patient. A relief after 3 years of dialysis.
I got emotional when I called my dad, actually, and just the reaction he gave me just made my heart melt.
This surgery was first performed at the University of Alberta Hospital on 20 adults in the past year. The robotic arms make smaller incisions for a minimally invasive approach.
What that translates to is faster recovery, way less pain, so less pain medication, less narcotic usage, and most importantly, lower wound complications.
That success has led the way for younger patients like Delaney to go under the knife. The recovery for him has been life-changing.
It's like a switch. It was like, it went from me being tired all the time to me wanting to eat, drink.
To see how well he is now and how good he's doing, and to actually get to see him enjoy being a kid, that's tremendous for me.
Dr. Levine says demand for these metal helping hands is growing with awareness.
It feels really good to be able to demonstrate that this is, feasible and it works well in this population.
Delaney is already looking forward to next summer, making up for lost time.
I get to swim again. I love swimming because, of course, I'm from Slave Lake, so we have all the swimming in summer.
Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
Some weeks we have a challenge making the weather forecast, vary from one day to the next because it's 20 and sunny, or whatever, right? Every day. This is not one of those weeks.
No, everything's changing very, very rapidly, including over the last couple of hours. It's been snowing, it's not snowing, it's snowing, it's raining, it's not raining. There's what it looks like outside right now, just cloudy. As you look through the Action Furnace River Valley Skycam, Action Furnace, fixed right or it's free. We're at 1 in Edmonton right now. That's the high so far, but it's a 1.4. And I think we're probably going to get up to 2 here before the evening is done. -8 in Fort McMurray, -10 in Cold Lake, -7 in Lloydminster. Look at the other end of the province. Daytime highs 3 degrees above 0. We're going to see more of the colder air start to drop in from the north and northeast once we hit Friday, Saturday. One more mild day tomorrow, though. Snowfall warning in effect for the Swan Hills region. Could see 15 to 20 centimeters worth of snow by mid to late day Friday. You may see some decent accumulations as well along Highway 43 northwest of Whitecourt. I don't think you're going to see anything approaching 20 centimeters, but you probably get some accumulation there. You'll notice there's no snow falling in that area, though. So why the snowfall warning? Well, it's coming overnight tonight through the day tomorrow, Friday. So you're under the warning now, but the snow won't start for several hours. We do have some snow falling in northeastern Alberta, up around Fort McMurray. We got some snow and rain-snow mix around Edmonton and off to the southwest. And if you look further to the south, still a bit of a sloppy rain-snow mix in and around the Red Deer region with a bit more precipitation off to the northwest that'll wash its way through as it makes its way off to the southeast over the next few hours. Here in the city, if it's not snowing right now, you still have a chance. There's a couple pockets there off to the northwest that will likely go through in the next couple of hours. Once we get to about 9 o'clock, though, that should all move out. We may even see a few breaks in the cloud cover. And then after midnight, those fill in. And by early tomorrow morning, we have snow falling in the Edmonton area. This could start as early as 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You've got snow from Edmonton all the way east to the Saskatchewan border, south towards Red Deer, southeast towards Coronation, off to the northwest along Highway 43. And that heavier snow in the Swan Hills region starting tomorrow morning and carrying right through the day. Again, if you have travel plans to put you on highways, check road conditions before you head out tomorrow. And they may be changing at times through the course of the day, because even through the afternoon and evening hours, occasionally the snow is going to stop, but then another pocket will roll through, and we're not completely done with this until well, maybe Friday afternoon. Through the morning hours, there's still some snow around the Edmonton area or off to the west and south of the city. Colder air, though, starting to drop in. You see this sharp edge to the cloud cover? There's a cold front that's going to slide its way through, and so we'll be into some colder air Friday. This system here will primarily target southern Alberta, but we may Friday evening see a few flurries off of that. One more warm day tomorrow. There's the cold air dropping in for Friday, Saturday, and then it starts to retreat a little bit late in the day on Sunday. It's 1 in Edmonton right now, -7 though off to the north in Slave Lake, and 3 degrees in Grand Prairie. We'll slip to about -1 or -2 early tomorrow morning, but temperatures basically holding steady within a degree or two of 0 for the next 24 hours. Colder for Friday, Saturday, -13s Friday, Saturday, and then a little bit milder early next week.
Thanks, Josh. An Edmonton family is giving the Griswolds a run for their money with their Christmas light display. As you can see, this home in Castle Downs is absolutely coated in Christmas lights. The owner says he waits until after Remembrance Day to set it up. The whole thing takes about 40 hours to complete. He guesses there are 148 strands of light making up the display. The family has some tips for anyone looking to add to their collection of Christmas lights.
He goes out after the season's over and buys so many more lights. He buys up the stock. It's ridiculous. He comes home, he's just like, they were on sale.
You know, I've been paying my Epcot bill every year on time, every month for 25 years. Maybe this year they'll, you know, throw me a bone for 25 days here.
The family says they've received some letters of appreciation and even gifts to thank them for brightening up the neighborhood. Still ahead, the impact of American tariffs on American border cities.
We absorb what we can, but we also can't absorb everything. There's just not enough room for it, and so everybody pays for tariffs.
The on-the-ground impact of an international trade war, and
government is not involved in the transaction.
A controversial arm of the American government makes a big Canadian purchase.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
U.S. tariffs have forced layoffs, creating tough days ahead for Algoma Steel in the city of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Just across the border is its twin city, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, a place that prides itself on having a bond with its northern neighbor that transcends politics. CTV's Heather Wright is looking into whether that city is also feeling the pain.
The Sault Ste. Marie International Bridge spans 4.5 kilometers, connecting the two Saults on either side of the St. Mary's River. Two cities, two countries facing similar challenges.
Definitely, there's been a pinch.
Jennifer Riatoir owns The Mole Hole, a shop that caters to both locals and visitors, though fewer Canadians are stopping by these days.
I'm sure the tariffs did not help, but I did already notice a drop because of the exchange rate.
Riatoir has been in business for more than a decade, but in the last year, she's watched as her margins have been squeezed thanks to tariffs.
Some of our vendors do try as well to absorb it for a while, but ultimately they pass it on to us. We absorb what we can, but we also can't absorb everything. There's just not enough room for it, and so everybody pays for tariffs.
While tariffs are most acutely felt on imported hard goods, prices have also risen at the grocery store.
Everything is going higher, and we're doing okay, but I think there's a lot less fortunate people that have to really struggle. And I don't know how they make ends meet.
It's a struggle Dan Trevisanute is trying to help with. He's a barber in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and is offering discounted pricing to all Algoma employees as his way to give back.
It's the least I can do. And a little bit of affordability to offer these people dignity, because they'll be looking for jobs, and there'll be a lot of people just going to be in a bad way.
An increase in social service needs was expected here in Sault Ste. Marie before the layoffs, a need that is only expected to grow now. Heather Wright, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Despite Donald Trump's push to buy American, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, is spending millions of dollars on a fleet of armored vehicles made by a Canadian defense manufacturer. The rush order came in late last month, worth the equivalent of 10 million Canadian dollars. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports.
20 armored vehicles made by Brampton-based defense manufacturer Rochelle are set to be delivered to U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents before the end of the year. The rush order from ICE came in late last month and is worth the equivalent of 10 million Canadian dollars. According to U.S. procurement documents, Rochelle is uniquely positioned to fulfill the requirement within the necessary time frame, having confirmed immediate availability of vehicles that fully meet ICE specifications.
The government is not involved in the transaction.
The department enacting U.S. administration's mass deportations has been accused of abusing human rights. Asked if the Canadian government had any concerns about the contract in light of this, the foreign minister wouldn't say.
We have not received any questions or permit requests regarding this transaction, and I will continue to reiterate that Canada and the United States have a strong bilateral relationship with an open line of communication in which, if necessary, I will raise the issues with Secretary Rubio.
Rochelle's made-in-Canada armored vehicles have been sent to the front lines in Ukraine, though the company also set up shop south of the border last year, ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump enacting his Buy American agenda. Rochelle did not respond to questions by our deadline about where the armored vehicles ICE ordered are originating. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Some holiday travel could be disrupted. Air Transat pilots have voted to go on strike as early as next week. The union says that 99% of pilots voted to walk off the job as part of their pressure tactics. They'll give 72 hours notice beforehand, but could go on strike next Wednesday. The pilots say they want industry standard pay and better working conditions. Coming up, proposed private surgical facilities canceled by the province.
Concerns were raised about the procurement practices and procedures and handling of conflicts of interest in AHS procurement.
Why the province is being called out by some for a lack of transparency and
rescues in Alberta and Western Canada and whole are dealing with basically an animal welfare crisis.
An abandoned dog is raising awareness on the need for more animal shelter support.
Programming brought to you by A Very Merry Pops with your Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. Learn more at winspearcenter.com.
Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar closed at 71 cents U.S. Oil was up 31 cents, closing at $58.95 American a barrel. Gold gained nearly $12. The TSX was up 111 points. The Dow Jones up 408. A surprise revelation in the legislature this week over the proposed private surgical facilities for Lethbridge and Red Deer. The Minister of Hospital and Surgical Health Services revealed the procurement for the two facilities has been cancelled. CTV's Carson Marsouk reports.
Concerns were raised about the procurement practices and procedures and handling of conflicts of interest in AHS procurement. And I'm pleased to share that the procurements for the Central and South Zone surgical facilities have been canceled.
It was an announcement that caught many off guard Tuesday afternoon. During question period, Minister of Hospital and Surgical Health Services, Matt Jones, shared the procurement process has been ended for two facilities.
Procurement and contracting is being transferred to the Health Shared Services Organization. We've hired a consultant, RSM, to align our procurement and contracting procedures with the best jurisdictions in the world.
Alberta Health Services procurement has faced criticism since an October 2025 report highlighted conflict of interest that negatively affected the procurement process.
The fact this was mentioned in an answer to a question period question, it wasn't a fulsome government relief with details or information for the public. It's frustrating, and it just shows their lack of commitment to transparency and accountability.
In a statement, the minister said the decision was based on several factors, including the significant time that had passed since the proponent was selected, which made economic assumptions and costing outdated, along with operational changes and delays finalizing contracts. The proposed private surgical facility, announced in 2022, would have seen an additional 1,200 more procedures be complete in the South Zone.
Opening a new surgical center doesn't create more staff. We're in a staffing crisis. We don't have the surgeons and anesthetists and nurses we need to keep our public operating rooms open in Medicine Hat and Lethbridge and throughout the province. Opening a new private facility in the same community will only make that worse.
The province plans to launch a new procurement process early in the new year, but the NDP are calling on the UCP to be more transparent with its processes.
It's public dollars and public services, and we'd like to see that these contracts aren't just handed out to friends of the UCP.
Carson Marsuk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Support is pouring in for a 3-year-old golden retriever abandoned at an Okotoks off-leash dog park. The dog has medical issues. Vets are now trying to get her ready for a new home. Here's CTV's Tyson Fedor.
The Stoffertons both work at the Southern Alberta Veterinary Emergency Hospital in Okotoks. Lauren and Allison are now fostering Rhea. She was abandoned in an Okotoks dog park tied to a post with a coat, blanket, boots, and her seizure medication.
Like the natural human response to say, oh, how could somebody do that? But being a veterinarian, being in veterinary medicine, you come to learn that it's not just about the animals that care.
A Good Samaritan then dropped off Rhea on Saturday at Save.
Knowing that she came in with seizure medication, we knew that she couldn't stay here overnight alone in the clinic because she just had medical risk.
Her owner left a note saying they were leaving the country and could not care for her any longer.
The owners did love her, did care for her. You know, they were probably in a situation where they were, you know, between a rock and a hard place. From what we do know, they did try to surrender her to at least 1 or 2 other rescues.
Rhea has health issues and been on anxiety and seizure medication. The Stoffertons are hopeful to medically clear her in the next couple of weeks so she can be adopted to her forever home.
We had a lot of people who messaged us and said that they were immediately wanted to open their homes to her and wanted her to have a soft place to land. And I guess she's not the only dog who's going through something like this right now.
Paws for Change Rescue Foundation says there is an overpopulation issue and rescues are full. It says it receives anywhere from 50 to several hundred requests for intake weekly.
Rescues in Alberta and Western Canada and whole are dealing with basically a animal welfare crisis.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Okotoks.
Coming up, the season of giving for some deserving children.
It's for them to see that wishes are real.
Some Make-A-Wish kids are gifted specially decorated Christmas trees. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Southview Acura. Experience the elegance of the all-new Acura ADX. We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
Make-A-Wish Canada made the start of the holiday season a little more special for 15 children this morning. The Fantasyland Hotel hosted the second annual Trees of Joy event. The children were surprised with the unveiling of holiday trees decorated to reflect each kid's unique interests and favorite things. Organizers say the event is also about bringing donors and the kids they help together.
It helps to kick off the season, but it helps to remind them that the wish kids that are in our community are their neighbors. It is their kid's best friend. It is a family member's child. It's for them to see that wishes are real.
Each of the 15 families will have their tree delivered to their home.
Looks like we'll get a bit of a break from the precipitation overnight tonight, but by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there's likely some wet snow, some rain and some snow at times through the day tomorrow and carrying through into early Friday morning. And then a big cool down after being around 2 or 3 degrees for a high tomorrow. Minus 13 by Friday afternoon. And still in that minus 13 range on Saturday. Temperatures will get a little bit milder early next week, back into the minus 2 to minus 5 range for Monday, Tuesday. But again, cold for the middle to the end of next week, and that probably sticks around until the 19th or 20th of December. So it's going to start to feel more like December, and it's starting to look
A lot more.
Or a little more festive out there.
And like Christmas, this moments ago, the ledge was lit up. The Light Up the Legislature event. This is one of the hallmarks of the holiday season in Alberta's capital city. Look at that, just absolutely beautiful. Every year, lots of people out enjoying the milder temperatures.
Yeah, I mean, it's still +1, so it's a spectacular night to be outside for the light up at the ledge. Just a great night for it.
Absolutely, just looks fantastic. All right, great shot there by camera person Sean McLuhan. All right, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Sean, and thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca, or the CTV channel.